Hey friends, what's going on? This is David Potts with Song Notes, and in this lesson I'm going to show you how to pick up your guitar and play Where Did You Sleep Last Night. I'm going to be mostly basing this off the Nirvana cover of this song that you hear at the end of their Unplugged in New York live album, which is my favorite Nirvana of all. Great stuff. Of course, this song existed for many decades before that, but let's dive right to it. You know, you only need a handful of chords and a single progression that you use for the entire song, repeating. So it makes it easy to learn, right? So I'm going to show you the chords, show you how to play the chords. I'm going to show you how to do the strumming. And I'm going to show you some bass note transitions you can do between the chords, which really spices things up and captures the feel of things. So let's get right to that lesson. As always, check out playsongnotes.com, my website where you can find my notes and tabs for this lesson and all my other lessons, in case you want to grab a printout of all the chords and tabs to have around when you're not looking at your phone or a computer. That'll be there waiting for you. One quick note is that Nirvana is playing this song with their guitar tuned down a half step. So that's E flat tuning. I have my guitar in standard tuning. I figured that's the way most people's guitars are tuned. So just note, if you want to play along with Nirvana and Kurt Cobain, tune down a half step every string, right? But standard tuning is what my guitar is in. So let's keep that in mind as we get to this lesson. Okay, so let's look at this progression that you'll use for the entire song. As you can see, there's only a handful of chords you'll need, okay? And it just repeats over and over again. I want to talk about how to play these chords though. So you'll see that the song, this progression begins and ends with E, okay? Now I have it as an E major here. I've seen some people online teach this song using an E minor, which you can surely use. It works just as well. So I think when Kurt Cobain is playing this song, it's really an E5. And what that means is there's no, it's not major or minor, okay? That G string is sort of muted, so what I'm doing there is I'm sort of doing an E minor and I have my ring finger sort of bumping into the G string, so it doesn't make a sound. But you can play an E major, you can play an E minor. I just sort of I do the E major version. I think when you listen to Leadbelly's version of the song, it sounds like an E7, right? So again, with that E, do a major if you want, do a minor if you want, or do the Nirvana E5, which is more neutral sounding, and it's almost like a power chord, right? I just want to make that note about the E, because wherever you look online, you're going to see people tackling that a different way. You can play it however you like, okay? So for the A, what I'm doing, you could play an A, like a normal A. What I'd like to do, though, is really use my index finger and bar the B string, G string, and D string. So I have open, second, second, second. I'm usually not playing the high E string, okay? I get more of the bass sound this way, right? For the G, normal G, however you want to finger it, really. I'm really not playing the highest two strings usually. I'm keeping it kind of nice and bassy. Now let's get to that B, okay? This is the toughest one. You can do it like this, second, fourth, fourth, fourth. It's the middle four strings. This is tough though, because I'm barring basically the second fret and the fourth fret. You can use your pinky if you want, which is even harder, or you could just do a sort of B power chord, which is second, fourth, fourth. The most important part here, though, is you want the fifth string to be your bass note, okay? You don't want to play the sixth string. So keep it muted or just don't play it, right? So that's what your options for the B are. You also could do a B7 up here. Again, I'm only playing the sort of bassier strings. But this B7 is a way to do it without a bar chord, okay? So those are the chords you'll need, right? Whatever you want to do for the E, I'm going to do an E major, the A, the G, and the B. Whether you're going to do the B like this or like that, it's up to you, okay? So now that we have those chords, let's look at the sort of breakdown here and the timing. So you have 3 counts per measure. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the strumming will be like this. 1, 2, and 3, and 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 down. Up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down. So with an E, that would sound like down, up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down. And you just repeat that for every chord in the song. So the progression once through would be down, up, down, up, down. 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 Okay? So that's just straight strumming of all the chords. What I really want to recommend you do though, what I like to do at least, is really focus on those bottom 4 strings, the bassier 4 strings. So you get a more like grounded, raw, kind of grungy sound, right? Okay? It was really focusing on the bassiest 3 or 4 strings. I really wasn't playing the B string or the E string that much, okay? This is all up to you though, of course, but that works well if you do the bassy stuff, because then you can do these bass note things. The really distinct one you hear in the intro of the Nirvana song is for the transition from the E to the A. You have this. Okay, so I'm going from an E, and I'm doing open, second, third on the low E string before I go to the A. Okay, so it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, and so it's. And the key thing there is I'm doing a single pluck with my pick, and I'm doing hammer-ons. This is tricky. If you can't do the hammer-ons yet, you can pick the strings just fine. And you actually can slow it down too. Okay? So practice that, do the timing that works for you. If you want to do it like Nirvana does it, and Leadbelly does it too, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3. It's a triplet on that 3 count in the second measure. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, triplet, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, triplet, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This one's really tricky to do in time. Just practice it, take it slow, and really just kind of pay attention to the angle of your finger and kind of where your hand needs to be, and eventually you'll get it, okay? But that's one of them. Here's another one I like to do. Before the first E, I like to go into it with my pinky on that low E string, 3rd fret. My girl, my girl. And then for the second bass note I do is this A string on the 2nd fret. So my girl, don't lie to me. Okay? Beyond that, what I like to do is when I go from the G to the B, I like to play the open A string 1 time. So G, and then do that. Okay? And however you're doing the B, if you do the power chord, you can still do that. So far we have. Now on the B, what I like to do is take my bass note of the B, okay, 2nd fret of the A string, and then take that same finger and play the 2nd fret of the low E string. But keep the other fingers in place. So right here is staying still. So now if you're doing the power chord, it would be. All right, and if you're doing the B7 up here, all right, that's a cool little bluesy trick. You hear like Johnny Cash doing it in Folsom Prison Blues. You take that B7, all right, so that, and kind of bend it a little bit if you can. Do some vibrato there. It kind of really gives it that bluesy rawness. But otherwise, it's a matter of taking that strumming, taking these bass notes and sort of mixing them together in a way where both work. And that's tricky, because if you really accent clean strumming and you're really good with the timing there, the bass notes might sound a little bit jarring. They might sound like they're sort of coming out of nowhere. But if you're too bassy, then the strumming kind of comes out of nowhere. So it's a matter of mixing them. So one more time. Okay? Play it how you like. I recommend listening to the Leadbelly version too, because he does some cool stuff where on On the B, he'll add a few notes there. He does a few other walk-ups, but it sounds pretty similar to the Kurt Cobain and Nirvana way of playing it. But really, it's a matter of taking this song and making it work for you, okay? But otherwise, that's all you'll need to play this song. So thanks a lot for watching. Let me know what questions you have, what comments you have, and what other Nirvana songs or any other sort of bluesy songs you might want to hear lessons for. I'm always looking for suggestions. But once more, this has been David Potts with Song Notes. And remember, I want you to pick up that guitar and play. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye.